How are you? Welcome, welcome. So yes, my name is Nancy Solano, and this is a video that's been long overdue for quite some time. This video, it's about me introducing myself, and so again, yes, my name is Nancy Solano, and I am a proud mom of three beautiful children: a 15-year-old girl named Destiny, a 9-year-old boy named Brian, and a beautiful 2-year-old girl named Ariana. So my reason for creating this video is because I published about 6 months ago a book called Embracing God's Grace from Darkness to Light. And this book is a little bit about my life, and it's a little bit about my childhood, growing up with a parent with mental health, to have to separate myself and move in with my dad into, initially it was to a basement, and then afterwards my dad was able to afford and get us to move into a two-bedroom apartment in the South Bronx, to me having to help my dad with my 6-year-old sister at the time. um, so yeah, my book is about my life, and I can speak to you about what actually made me write this book. This is not a book that I just decided overnight to write. It is a book that was actually written in 2021, and it was sitting in my cell phone notes for quite some time. And the reason being is because I didn't feel comfortable. And I'm a person who, I'm very private. I don't like to share my life. And those that know me don't know much about me because I don't share nothing really about my life. Because I personally think that my life is something personal, and I feel like that's something sacred. And it took a long time for me to learn that. Um, so, again, what brought me into writing this book was because during my delivery with my daughter, who was born 2 years ago in 2021, I had an encounter with God, where technically I would say that I was in the hospital bed. I was currently in delivery for like 33 hours, and there was still no sign of no baby coming. So I was getting very swollen, and the doctors decided that I needed an emergency C-section. So I was okay with it at the time because, being in labor for 33 hours and still no signs of a baby, yeah, it could get a little frustrating after a while. So I okayed it, and I decided to pull through and have an emergency C-section. But before me having the emergency C-section, my mind, like, intuitively, I was feeling as if I wasn't going to come back from that delivery. It's an unfortunate and it's a bad feeling to have, especially when you're about to give birth. But intuitively, I felt like something was going to happen and something was going to be wrong. So yeah, I actually started praying mentally inside my head, and then they brought me into the operating room to do the emergency C-section. During that encounter, I initially started feeling when they were cutting me open to take the baby out. Eventually, my daughter was out, and I was still in. They told me that the surgery will be about 30 minutes. It took longer than that, actually. Um, so, with that being said, the baby was born. They were taking care of her. And by my side, I had my best friend, which I love her so much, and I can just thank her for taking time out of her personal life to actually be with me during my delivery. And that's something that I would never take for granted. And I just want to thank you for that, Michelle. Um, so I will say that I was dreaming. It doesn't really feel like it was a dream. It actually felt like a nightmare. But I was playing a puzzle, and then eventually I made it up to the top. I'm thinking that I was just actually playing a game, and it wasn't a game. Um, when I reach the top, all I see is like white clouds, and I see a beautiful, like, it looks like a beautiful castle, and it's in gold. And then I see God, and he's staring right at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, Mr. Man, what am I doing here? And God happened to tell me that this was the end of my story. you can just think of all the things that crossed through my mind. I was thinking of my children. I was thinking of my daughter at the time. Did she make it out? Is she alive? Is she well? So yeah, during that time, God gave me some instructions, which I choose not to share because those are things that are very intimate with me and God. But I had some encounters with God where He gave me some instructions of some things that He want me to do in this lifetime, which I promised Him that is something that I will do. Um, and then I also prayed. I prayed so hard just to make sure that I came back. During the I'll say that during my encounter with him, one of the things that he required me to do was to write a book. And this is the actual book that's being sold on Amazon. Um, so, again, the book is what made me write the book. It was God. This is one of the tasks that he gave me to do, and it's a task that it took me a long time to get done. But it got done in 2021. I just kept it in my notes. And I spoke with my sister, who's like my confidant, Marilyn and Yadi at the time, and I told them that God had asked me to write a book, and I told them I was like, even though He asked me to write a book, like I don't feel comfortable with doing that. So yeah, God told me that He wanted me to write a book about my life, and that it will help save a lot of souls. When He told me that, um, I was confused because I was thinking, I said, I don't think my life is something great to talk about, but with God, there was something very great to talk about. Um, so the goal of what he wanted me to speak with everyone was about a little bit about my life. Not a little bit. I think he wanted me to talk a whole lot about my life. But I decided to be discreet because how private and personal that I am. So he asked me to write about my life, the stuff that I encountered growing up as a child, to being raised by a single dad, to eventually having my two oldest children, um, to having my last born daughter, and having to support her and raise her on my own, to eventually finding love, finding someone who loved my children as if they are his own. Um, so yeah, my book speaks a little bit briefly about all those things. So my goal with the book was to help those who have been in dark times because during my pregnancy, I was in the most dark time that I've ever been in my life. Um, Having to deal with, going back and forth with my child's father, to deciding to keep my child because God told me that this child was going to be born. So with the fact that I decided to keep my daughter, no matter how much I got so much disapproval from the other end. Um, so yeah, my daughter's a blessing. So shout outs to little Ariana. I'm glad that she's asleep while I'm, recording this. But shout outs to her. She's actually the child that brought me closer to God as well. So after the delivery and everything, I my main focus was to do everything that God asked me to do. Even if I dread it, and even if I took some time, I still got it done. And time after time, God had His ways of showing me that what He asked me to do had to get done. So in 2023, I was having a conversation with my sister, and I told her, I'm just gonna get this book situation out of the way. Like it just has to get done because I feel like it's stopping me. It's stopping me from other things that God want me to do, and this is one of the first things that He actually asked me to do that needed to be taken care of. So with God's grace, I pulled through, and the book was completed. It is done and is being sold on Amazon currently. I am planning on updating a few things, so my recommendation is for no one to purchase it as of now. But my book will definitely be updated. I will be elaborating and adding on a little more to it. But again, my purpose of writing this book, as per what God told me, is to help others heal, help others get out of the darkness, help other women who have been through having a child and not having support from their child's father, um, having a child and getting pushback from all different angles, or hearing like, why did you do it again, like you should have never been pregnant, or you should have never had a baby, or like, it's a lot of things that I went through and a lot of things that I've encountered that I'm just thankful that I was so strong that I didn't let none of those things affect me. But I did go through a portion of my pregnancy. I'll say the first like 4 to 5 months, I went through like depression. I went through the fact of me knowing that I'm pregnant and knowing that I have to have, I'm having a child by someone who I don't even want to be with. I have no interest in being with that person. And actually to think, because I actually thought in my mind that even if me and that person do not get back together, that that person will actually support me and, help me with my daughter, help me with our daughter. And unfortunately, I didn't get that. So because of that, I thought that, again, you would think that you would get support from people that, I don't know. I already had children with that person, so I was thinking that I will have more support. Like, it's not like I wanted to be close to anyone because that was never my plan, but I feel like I just wanted support. And instead, I just got a lot of pushback. I got a lot like, you messed up, and no one ever put themselves in my shoes. But then again, it showed me people's true colors. Um, and I decided to, keep my space, because it was beneficial for me. And I need to be well in order for my kids to be well. My kids depend on me. So if mommy's not good, my kids ain't good. So yeah, my goal after that was to start to see the light, this light at the end of the tunnel. God always made sure that He was able to provide for me and my children. I stayed home for 5 months, and I have never done that with any of my kids. And again, I work at a New York City hospital, and I had my providers give me substantial amount of money to make sure that my children and I were good for 5 months. Like, I don't know what that may sound to you, but that just tells me that I'm highly favored. And I could just thank God for that, because that is not easy and that don't come by easy. So, I'm so grateful and so thankful for the job that I have, and, my providers for making sure that, they didn't know my situation. They just knew that I was having a baby, and they was just like, we don't care who the daddy is. We don't even care to know what happened. But we got you, Nancy. Like, you and your kids will never miss or never need anything. And it's been 2 years in, and they have pulled through with each and everything that they have said. So I'm, again, thankful. I'm so thankful for everyone. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of projects coming up. So this is just an introduction of me so that you can know who I am and put the face to the name. And it's also for me to speak of the book that I'm currently selling on Amazon that I will ask of you not to purchase at the time, but I will ask you to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram name is Nancy J. Solano. And the reason why I will ask you to do that is because anytime I make an update, it will all be on that Instagram for now until I create a new Instagram, which is coming soon. My second project that's coming up is my virtual assistant business. So if there's anyone who's interested, or need assistance in any administrative task, feel free to reach out to me. I am currently available to assist. So just reach out and maybe I can give you some type of input of, or I can provide you some ideas. I'm just getting new. I'm new into this. So please don't expect expert Nancy as of yet. But I'm launching my virtual assistant business very soon. I am currently able to just take one client at a time because, again, I am a full time student, a full time employee, and a full time mom. So, which tells you that yes, I have time, and no, I do not have time, but I always make time some way, somehow. And my goal is to be able to motivate others, to inspire others that, no matter how much we have going on in life, God is always willing to provide for us. We just have to go and leave our burdens to Him, and He will definitely supply us our needs. All we have to do is always to remember to continue looking forward, never look back. And this is something that I say to everyone: don't look back, because the past is not something you want to deal with. Like, which when you look